and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. It's Sunday and David is reading on the sofa, covered in a little blanket, having a cup of tea, and Minnie has only just recently left his lap. That is my favourite sight of all, to see David reading, and here I am, shouting and screaming on a video only feet away from him, but that is one of my favourite sights. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about the books that I'm currently reading in March. So as I said, I'm filming this on a Sunday and this is going up on a Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope you're all having a lovely day. So these may have changed slightly since the Sunday, probably not, but I will talk you through what I am currently reading. So the first book, this is my main read at the moment, and that's Three Things About Elsie by Joanna Cannon. I feel like it's really big around that side of my face. Hi. This is Three Things About Elsie by Joanna Cannon. This was recently longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction, and I'm slowly working my way through the books that I have as she tries to grapple them. The books that I have at the moment that I own that have been longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. I've also decided to get quite a few out from the library, so I'm going to work through those. My plan is, my reading plan is that I am to read 100 pages of 100 pages or finish, this is my mind, I like a little reading goal, 100 pages or finish a book that's on the Bailey's long list, the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. And then once the 100 pages is done from that day, I'm able to carry on sort of mopping up the books that I've got here. Really enjoying this so far. I feel like there's something going on here that I've realised quite early. I don't know if everybody else realised it, if it's even going to be a thing, I might be wrong, quite early. But there's something going on here that I've realised quite early, but that hasn't ruined the story for me. It tells the story of Florence, who has fallen over in her sheltered accommodation. She's living in an old people's homes, and she's just running over the situations in which she's going to be discovered. And also another story that's going on, which is prior to this fall, is that somebody has moved into the old people's home that she is living in, and that somebody has something to do with her past, and he wasn't a very nice chap. So it's gradually that's unraveling as well. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm really I feel like it's quite an easy read in terms of like other Women's Prize for Fiction books that I've read that have been longlisted or shortlisted, but very much enjoying this. And I read The Trouble with Goats and Sheep last year, and I feel like maybe I'm enjoying this a little bit more than The Trouble with Goats and Sheep. Imagine. But that is Three Things About Elsie that I'm currently reading. How are you getting on, David?
Nice.
Oh, David's currently reading. Do you want to just tell people what you're currently reading?
I'll just show them.
David's currently reading A Street Cat Named Bob, that you're very much enjoying, aren't you? He got that for Christmas off of his mum, and you're liking it, aren't you? What do you like about it?
This has got cats in.
It's got cats in. He likes cats.
Or a cat.
A cat. And then the other three books that I'm mopping up, I won't talk about this one before much because I've mentioned it before. That is 100 Nasty Women of History by Hannah Jewell. I am 148 pages into this, and I'm on woman number 42. So yeah, I feel like this is going to be a sort of ongoing project for me. I'm really enjoying this. It's really funny, it's really well written and like humorous, but this is going to be one probably that's ongoing for a few more months, just because, yeah, I sort of pick it up and as I go, and it doesn't really leave the house either, because it's quite a nice big hardback. It's quite heavy, so it doesn't really leave the house. It's sort of like if I'm sitting down having a cup of tea, maybe I'll pick that up and read one of those. So that'll be ongoing for a while. The other thing I've got is A Change Is Gonna Come, which is a brand new selection of stories and poetry about change from a selection of BAME authors. Some you may recognise are Aisha Malik, Nikesh Shukla, Yasmin Rahman, Mary Bello I recognise as well. Really enjoying this. This is from the library. It is a teen book. One of the ones that really stood out to me was a story told from a chap whose friend's dad has started sharing Britain First posts on Facebook. His friend's name is so the guy that we're following, his friend's name is Alex. You never find out if Alex is a boy or a girl. It's told from a they and them perspective and their perspective, which I really found interesting, and I was really pleased to find a story like that. And yeah, I've just very much enjoyed it. And the most recent one I've just read is one about a girl who's in her first year of university, and her mother dies, and they'd always had plans when she graduated that her and her mother would go to Nigeria, which is where her mother was born, and she would take her to like where she was born, where her mother was born and things like that. And her mother dies quite unexpectedly after a very short illness, and she has to go to Nigeria by herself, and she meets her family then, and the description of Nigeria and her family is just beautiful and wonderful. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was called Dear Asher, and that is the story by Mary Bello. But yeah, a real good selection of stories and poetry so far. I've only read one. I think it starts with a poem and ends with a poem, so it's much more short stories than it is poetry, but really enjoying this, and very much would recommend. And then the last book that I'm reading is The Word for Woman is Wilderness, a novel by Abby Andrews. This is the proof copy. This book I started, I'm not even sure how long ago. So this book is about a 19-year-old girl, Erin, who she watches a lot of programs on TV like about people like Bear Grylls and Ray Mears who can survive in the wild, and she thinks, why is this always men that do this? Why can't women have a chance to do this? So she decides that she will go on an expedition to the North Pole and Canada and things like that, and this happens literally within the first sort of 12 pages. She decides that she's going to do this, and she's doing it straight away. And you hear about her journey to Iceland, and then her journey from Iceland to Greenland, and then her journey from Greenland to Canada, and that all happens really quickly, like literally within like the first sort of 80 pages. I think she's in Canada within 80 pages, and like it was very interesting, and it's very it really touches on like feminist issues such as like sexual assault and things like that, and like jobs she's been in when she's been younger, and she's sort of been like, she's had a male boss who's felt very much entitled to her, and like harks back to things like that. And I was thinking, bloody hell, this is all moving super quickly. I wonder when this is going to slow down, because I was aware that it's a book that's almost 500 pages long. No, it's not. It's a book that's just over 300 pages long, and I was thinking, God, this is all flying by really quickly. Now what actually happens is that at some point, about halfway through the book, she decides that she's going to go and spend some time by herself in the wilderness, and that's where it sort of slowed down a bit for me. So as you can see, I've probably got about 80 pages left, but that's where it slowed down a bit for me. There was a really enjoyable bit where she was talking about reindeers being a reindeer being her spirit animal, and how she always has she thinks about reindeer a lot, and she sees reindeer a lot, and if she's like looking at a book cover, for instance, she'll see, oh, there's a reindeer, and she'll recognise reindeer quite a lot. And then when she's camping by herself, a reindeer comes to her cabin quite a lot, and she talks about that being her spirit animal. And I really like that, because I feel like I've got a really big connection with robins, the birds robins. I see robins everywhere, even like in the summer I see them, and I'm also a very big fan of Christmas, and robins are obviously associated with Christmas. And as I was reading that, I was like, bloody hell, this is like the similar thing I get with robins. Like, I feel like I see robins all the time, and like not even actual robins, like little pictures of robins and things that look like robins and stuff like that. And that bit really piqued my interest. But aside from that, since she's been in the cabin, it's all got a bit profound and deep and philosophical for me, and I'm not a very like profound and deep person, so I have been enjoying this. However, I feel like it's lost me a bit towards the end, and now I'm reading 3 Things About Elsie, like I feel like I'm much more leaning towards that. I picked this up and read about 4 pages of it last night, just because I'd read my 100 pages of 3 Things About Elsie, and I had to really like force myself to get back into it. So yeah, I feel like, yeah, I'm undecided. I'm undecided. There's parts of it that I've been really liking, there's parts of it that I feel like a bit of a slog, but yeah, that's how I feel about it, guys. That's how I feel. So those are the 4 books that I'm currently reading. Oh, one more thing, I'm listening to the audiobook. I can't believe this, by the way. I'm listening to the audiobook of Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, which, as you may well know, is one of my favourite books, my top 3 favourite books of all time. And I read that before, and now I'm listening to the audiobook, and I was about an hour and 20 minutes in, very much enjoying it. I listened to books via Audible, and it's just stopped working, and it just said I need to re-download it and find where I was and things like that. And I just have, laziest thing ever, I just haven't had a chance to delete it and re-download it. And also I've got quite a big backlog of podcasts going on at the moment as well. So I got to about an hour and 20 minutes in. I feel like when I download it again, I might just listen to it from the beginning again, as I was only an hour and 20 minutes in. But that was another thing that I was listening to, but that hasn't been happening for about a week now. So yeah, so those are the 5 things that I have going on at the moment. Oh, I thought that was your phone. I looked over so angrily then, David. I thought you were playing something on your phone. So those are the 5 books that I'm reading at the moment. These 4 and listening to Americana. Would love to hear what you guys are currently reading at the moment. Sorry about the dodgy light in this, but I've drawn the curtains across, but they're not very good curtains. And obviously it's made like half my face dark. Hopefully when I come to edit it, it won't be quite as bad lighting as this. So yeah, would love to hear what you guys are currently reading, and if you guys have read any of these books. Are any of you planning on reading some of the books on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list? Would love to hear about that, and I will see you all again soon for another book video.